The News Day continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. Amid higher production costs, the Agriculture Department says prices of regular milled rice may hike up to 6 pesos by the end of the year. But the Agrarian Reform Department claims that the price of rice may decrease by the beginning of 2023. Shaila Francisco has the details.
The Agriculture Department is bracing for higher rice prices by the fourth quarter this year amid higher production costs. Higher prices of fertilizer and petroleum products mean farmers would be using less of these inputs. This will likely impact the harvest during the wet planting season starting September. The problem does not end there. Demand could further increase as countries affected by the wheat ban turn to rice exports as alternatives. With this, the DA expects that prices of regular milled rice will increase by 4 to 6 pesos late this year.
4 to 6 na yan, assuming na walang export ban. Pero kung nag-export ban sila at nagkaroon ng greater demand sa rice dahil pag-ship ng other wheat-eating countries sa bigas, talagang hindi natin masasabi kung saan naaabot.
This is why the DA is seeking for higher funding to boost productivity. On the other hand, the Department of Agrarian Reform is seeing the possibility of lowering rice prices by the first quarter of next year. This as the promise of President-elect Bongbong Marcos to bring down rice prices to 20 pesos per kilo could be achieved through their programang Benteng Bigas sa Mamamayan project. The project aims to produce mega farms to improve productivity. Once approved, they will start off with 150,000 hectares of rice land with an initial funding of 12 billion pesos.
Kung mayroon farmer yan na tigwa 1 hectare sila, i-consolidate mo yon into mga 50 hectares, no? Para maging bulk yung pag-purchase mo ng lahat. So bababa talaga siya, yung cost of production. Tapos with technical support, ang aim lang niya is mapababa yung production cost. At tapos direct yung magiging pagbebenta from the farm gate to the consumer.
Shaila Francisco, we are One News.
The SWS reports that 12.2% of Filipino families experienced involuntary hunger in the first 3 months of the year. The survey conducted from April 19 to 27 found that 3.1 million families experienced being hungry and not having anything to eat at least once in the first quarter. The hunger rate is 0.4 points above the 11.8% back in December, and 9.3% of at least 2 million families experienced moderate hunger, or those who went hungry once or a few times from January till March. Meanwhile, 2.9% or over 700,000 families experienced severe hunger, or those who experienced hunger often or always in the first 3 months. The experience of hunger is highest in Metro Manila at 18.6% of families, followed by Mindanao at 13.1%. Some drivers and TNVS riders staged a protest in Quezon City over the latest round of oil price hikes. Drivers lament that no matter how long they ply roads, they no longer earn enough to make a decent living. That's why they have no choice but to line up at gas stations early this morning before fuel prices increased, and even TNVS riders are asking for a fare hike amid the soaring pump prices. But the LTFRB had earlier said that fare hikes will probably not be approved under the outgoing administration.
Wala na kaming kikitain. Lahat napupunta na sa gas. Sana man lang taasan din nila yung fare namin para magpantay-pantay kami. 2 anak ko, nangungupahan pa ako. Tibid-tibid lang. Itlog. Tuyo, noodles. Hindi talaga magkakasya. Sana taasan nila yung fare namin.
The Energy Department says the EU import ban of Russian oil would affect over 3 million barrels of oil. In an interview with The Big Story, DOE Oil Industry Management Bureau Director Rino Abad explained that this is equivalent to around 3 to 4% of the world's fuel supply. This means that more countries will compete for the oil supply from the Middle East and South America. And Abad said that with the volatility of oil prices, the government must look for funds to increase the budget of subsidies.
The bottom line is the government has to look for the funds to provide the necessary subsidy for this plan.
Okay.
Other than that, we really have to go on moving towards looking at the reality that any excess of those increases that will not be covered by subsidy will be passed on ultimately to the consumer.
We'll be back with more stories after a quick break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. As the country commemorates Migrant Workers' Day, the POEA celebrates our modern-day heroes with some festivities at their office. To tell us more about this, we have Laila Pangilinan on the line. She's reporting to us live from Mandaluyong. Laila, good morning. Could you tell us what you're seeing?
Good morning, Charles. The POEA ground floor is in a festive mood as overseas Filipino workers returning and applying abroad were treated to free coffee, ice cream, SIM cards, and more giveaways from partner companies as the agency gives recognition to all the overseas Filipino workers that worked hard abroad on the 27th Migrant Workers' Day. Migrant Workers' Day is celebrated every 7th of June in commemoration of the signing into law of the Republic Act 8042, or the Migrant Workers Act of 1995. It is celebrated in recognition of the valuable contributions of the modern-day heroes, our overseas Filipino workers, to the country. OFWs who are here are overwhelmed by the gesture of the agency. We've spoken to a few returning OFWs, and they couldn't help but feel very important because of the POEA's appreciation for them. Charles, just to add that this is the first time that the Department of Migrant Workers handled the celebration as the POEA turned over the celebration to them. And we have not yet spoken to any official, but as for the organizing committee, this is a whole day event filled with seminars, entertainment, and most of all, freebies. That's the latest here, Charles. Back to you.
Thanks for that, Laila. Enjoy ka lang dyan. That was Laila Pangilinan reporting from Mandaluyong. Time now for a quick look at some of today's headlines. Another big-time oil price hike takes effect today. Diesel prices are up by 6 pesos and 55 centavos per liter, while gasoline prices are now higher by 2 pesos and 70 centavos per liter. Meanwhile, kerosene prices are up by 5 pesos and 45 centavos per liter. PHIVOLCS warns that heavy rain in Sorsogon may cause lahar flow from the Bulusan volcano. The camp of the driver in the viral hit-and-run incident in Mandaluyong has reportedly reached out to Senator J.B. Ejercito. And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us again later at 2 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We're One News.